Hello, everyone. My name is Adrian Karkoszka. I am a lawyer and owner of AK Consulting, public affairs and strategy advisory agency. And today we have a second EU-US talk with my very dear friend Ben Dach, intellectual property partner at Pierson Ferdinand, attorney at law, licensed in the states of New York, New Jersey, and Florida. Am I correct, Ben?
Yes, and the United States Patent and Trademark Office. I'm also a registered patent attorney.
And PhD from chemistry. Am I right?
Yes, from Columbia University.
Well, I'm flattered to have such a friend and such a great partner for discussion. Basically, we plan to speak about other topic than our first podcast, but apparently 2 days after our conversation about the cryptocurrency regulations, um, Polish President Karol Nawrocki vetoed act on cryptocurrency, and apparently it became one of the most highlighted topic in Polish media. And the question which we asked together the last time, how to find the balance between over-regulating and not regulating at all. This situation is a perfect example. Uh, for US listeners or also listeners who are not familiar with the Polish regulation, which has been denied by President Nawrocki, the Polish Crypto Act contained very severe, very hardcore regulation, let's say, for the crypto industry. And also, we mentioned about how that kind of regulation can slow down or simply um, um, disturb startups and new business ideas, business plans for the crypto industry. And that was one of the reasons why President Nawrocki didn't sign this act. Um, one of the most significant part of this act draft of the act was requirement for the registration every company, every entity uh, working under the crypto technology, under the KNF, and the KNF is Polish Polish Financial Committee. This is institution which pays attention on the financial and banking market in Poland. So basically, we predicted the future. Um, Ben, I know that you read about this regulation. What is your outcome? What is your opinion about it?
Yes, well, thank you. First of all, I'm so amazed that we could predict the future. Just 2 days later, after our discussion, all of this became major headline news. So I think we have some kind of magic going. I will say the I believe personally that, the Polish president deciding to veto this adoption of a regulation that would align them with all of Europe is I could see it being controversial perhaps. But from my perspective, it's perhaps as we spoke last time, the USA has a more flexible, not such a strict regulation on these types of cryptocurrency companies. So that's the approach the USA has. Perhaps Poland is trying to stay aligned with that approach because of perhaps they agree more with that way doing business and keeping things more open. But I guess it's important to look at it and how the European MICA, it's called, the European Union has its own system that and how they regulate. I think looking at the details of how they regulate and why that may not be desirable, that would be an interesting discussion.
Yes, exactly. Even during the Polish parliamentary session, there was discussion about the benchmark and comparison between the Polish adaptation of MICA or MiCA Act, doesn't matter how we call it, and other countries, especially our neighbor countries. And Polish Crypto Act is a huge regulation, and comparing to Czech one, for example, it is much wider. I could call it gold plating of European regulation, which is sadly very often case in Poland because adoption of European law shouldn't go so above the general rules of the directives coming from the European institutions. So on one side, Polish government wanted to secure end users, which we both agreed it's very important. But on the other side, over-regulating the whole crypto industry can result in blocking the development of this technology in Poland, simply because if other countries have much more flexible regulations, and in Poland it will be so difficult to be licensed, and the possibility of potential fines are so high, there will be too much risk for potential newcomers, for startups, right? So of course we are not here to discuss politics. We're focusing on this regulation. But the interesting thing is that this is also again for American listeners. The president of Poland is the opponent of the prime minister of Poland. They are from two different sides of the political scene, and this legislation process started political. I wouldn't call it dispute. I would call it war, because the government tried to overvote the presidential veto without having a chance for that because they didn't have enough majority in the parliament, in the Polish parliament. And I'm kind of surprised that this topic is so important for the government, and the attempts to adopt that law, even though there was a very small chance having presidential signature under it, that government was still pushing on it.
Everything you said is true, and it's highly interesting because the prime minister there, Donald Tusk, he wants to push it back through again. So it's him now apparently versus the president, and they have conflicting interests, I suppose, and not sure exactly why, but I can conjecture. But why is it such a big deal? Well, cryptocurrency, it could be either a very big economic driver for a country, or it could, the country may want to maintain a certain economic sense of resources and such. So I can only conjecture, but I think it'll be really interesting to see whether this affects the cryptocurrency climate in Poland, because perhaps there are a lot of companies in Poland that are doing this, And is there a question that will they move? Will there be more of them there? How does it affect that? Maybe that's a big question mark, and I don't know exactly how it will. But I think on a bigger scale, this could also be like a small piece of like a bigger kind of ideological debate about
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Uh, well, in Poland, the political system is quite different than in USA. So that's why if the president and the prime minister are not from the same political party, the tense can be really high. And the current situation is a great example of it because just in few months, President Nawrocki already vetoed 17 drafts of new acts to Polish law, and it will last sadly because it simply brings chaos for Poland for Polish stability for Polish law, and this is part of it, right? The President Nawrocki explained that such over regulation is impacting on civil liberties simply, and it can also impact on lower innovations when it goes for crypto technology. What to do now? What to do now? This is a question. So you as an American lawyer, what do you think? How to find the solution? How to find the balance? Again, we have to try to find the answer. How to find the balance between overregulation and total freedom? The risk of stopping innovation and frauds and losses of end users.
Yes. Thank you. That's a wonderful way for me to answer this question, which is always the middle ground, right? There's compromise. There's got to be a golden ratio of acceptance of, what is the correct pathway here. And so perhaps there can be regulation over the, you know, and not looking at necessarily not making the companies have to jump through so many hoops, but maybe just register the company on a crypto company registry that the government can keep track of, and maybe audit once every so often, depending on tax returns. I'm just saying, like, these are creative ideas that I'm just thinking of really on the spot, but there's got to be maybe a middle ground where it's like we have to have cryptocurrency companies, right? We're not saying we're not having any of them. That's one idea. Then on the other side, there's like just let the cryptocurrency companies do whatever they want. We're not saying that either. So obviously there's some middle thing, and it's either you make them jump through a million hoops and it's like virtually impossible to be a company at that point, and I don't think we want that. And then there's also like, okay, we just make them sign up for something on a website, and maybe that's too simple. So I'm just kind of trying to get to the middle where maybe there's something else that will satisfy both parties to say, we're going to have a cryptocurrency overseeing agency, and they'll take care of it. And maybe that's the solution.
Fully agree with you. And um, one more important thing that we also discussed during the previous podcast, countries which are, let's say, not friendly towards USA or Poland can use crypto technology, cryptocurrency in a bad manner, which can be against the national security. And this argument was being raised by the government, by the prime minister, because well, we are the country. We have a border with Ukraine, Belarus, and Russia. So we are under the risk of potential provocations, potential money laundering from unfriendly countries towards NATO. Um, so so I can understand the reasons of the strict regulations when it goes for the political and security manners, right? But still, I think the best would be try to look more for this balance to secure not only end users and national security, but also secure development of technology, which is crucial
Hmm.
nowadays. It's crucial, and it is very difficult. I have to admit. Um,
Sure it is. It's a tough political, regulatory question, legal perhaps in some ways, and maybe it extends beyond that. As you're talking about the technology, um, obviously with Bitcoin and the white paper and all of that, and the really the blockchain, right? Um, which came out maybe in already 15 years ago almost. And now the progression to today that we have so many alternative coins, Ethereum and Solana and I can name a million.
meme coins.
Yeah, the meme coins, that was a huge thing. Some of them are still around. I think Doge
Yeah.
is still there. So what are they doing, right? They're there. They're not moving. Some of them dropped, some of them are still worth some amount, and people have economies that are scaling because of these things. And the technology now is becoming more advanced and it's becoming more involved in other areas of our lives too. So it hasn't really been fully adopted in terms of like a currency, but it's being used in novel ways. And as we move forward with, let's say, the new technology that will inevitably come out, it'll make things, it'll start to be adopted a much more. So I think it's important that the government gets this one right and they do it probably sooner rather than later.
Yes. Fully agree with you. It just I just remind my when you were talking about this different coins. I also remind myself the cryptocurrency exchange market FTX, which was basically financial pyramid. So many people, so many end users lost. Uh, Very often life savings on that. And this is example that this market has to be regulated. But the importance is to know where to put the boundaries, right? Where is this moment that we say, okay, here we are allowing this technology to develop, but we are securing people who are using it. We are having at least some of the control on the entities who are providing this kind of services or cryptocurrencies, but not not ban the whole market, right? Not ban the whole technology.
Mhm. Yes, 100%. Well said, Adrian. It's just like that. Obviously we need to have the regulations so we don't have another FTX scenario. That was a big fiasco, I agree. And we can learn a lot from that though. That's what we do. And then we fail, we learn. So maybe we're learning from that, and that's what the European Union is doing, and so other countries are doing it differently because they have to do it some way that works for them, right? Their country has different economies, and we have to be respectful of that, I believe. So I think we'll let it play out in the legal system that the Polish legal system, however, will play out, which I have full faith in that. And I think it'll be really interesting though, where we see everything going in 2026. Because this could be resolved very quickly, or it could last perhaps well into 2026 and it could get even more heated. So it's hard to say. But I would think that um, the Poland is really the only EU country without a national MiCA policy, right? So I would think that sooner rather than later they'll get to it.
Yes, fully agree. Well, let's see. Time will tell how this uh, attempt of crypto regulations in regulation in Poland will finish. For now, there's quite chaotic, but hopefully both the governmental and the presidential sides will meet in the middle, and we will have a good regulation. So I think we didn't plan this second podcast on crypto, but somehow life surprised us, and it was a great pleasure talking to you, Ben, again.
But always a pleasure to speaking
And
with
and
you.
can't wait for another discussion. I think this time we're changing the topic because I don't expect any more big crypto news by the end of the year.
If it comes up, we'll deal with it. But until next time, we'll have another very, very relevant topic that is it may even be related, but it'll be completely new and novel. And we could even talk about, like I said, my field, intellectual property law, which is very hot right now in terms of like copyrights and the AI, uh, you know, not to take things in another direction, but we could talk all about that as well. If that's of interest to you and
Absolutely,
your team.
absolutely. Can't wait. You're a great expert in these topics, so I will be more than happy to learn from you. Thank you so much, Ben. Benjamin Dach, intellectual property partner at Pierson Ferdinand, was my colleague to discuss, my dear friend to discuss this topic. I'm Adrian Karkoszka, AK Consulting agency owner and founder. And see you soon. Thank
Bye.
you.